Every single week, American grocery stores are pulling thousands of cheese products right off their shelves. The reason why has absolutely nothing to do with expiration dates. It's because you, the consumer, have finally started reading the labels, and what you're finding is making you put that cheese right back down. Chances are one of these 6 brands is sitting in your refrigerator at this very moment. You need to stay until the end, because the product at number 4 will literally leave you speechless. The United States has a rich cheese-making tradition that stretches back for generations. Think of the sharp cheddars from Vermont or the classic farmer's cheese your own grandmother might have made by hand in her kitchen. These recipes were passed down through families like priceless heirlooms. People took immense pride in their dairy craft, with small farms producing cheese with a level of care and patience that's hard to imagine today. That was a different time, the one you see in old photographs and hear about from your older relatives. Today, the average American consumes around 18 pounds of cheese every single year. That breaks down to roughly 3/4 of an ounce per day, maybe 2 slices of American cheese on your lunch sandwich. It sounds innocent enough when you put it like that, but this is exactly where things get complicated. The U.S. cheese market generates over $3 billion annually. $3 billion. When you're dealing with a scale, that massive tradition becomes just another marketing buzzword, not a genuine method of production. Huge corporations are making their decisions based on quarterly profits and shareholder meetings, not quality. Quality control gets replaced by cost control, and the speed of production becomes the only metric that matters. The cheese that ends up in your fridge has passed through a vast industrial system designed to maximize output while minimizing every possible expense. You pay one price at the checkout counter. Your body, however, pays a completely different price later on. A major agricultural and food quality inspection agency conducted a sweep of 108 stores across the United States in 2025. They discovered significant irregularities in 17 of those locations. The problems they found ranged from missing ingredient lists and a lack of manufacturer data to outright fraudulent information about the product's country of origin. According to their official findings, roughly 5% of the yellow cheese on the American market is adulterated or imitation. 5% might not sound like a lot until you stop and realize just how much cheese American families consume every single week. That small percentage translates into millions of tainted servings ending up on dinner tables across the country. I'm going to show you exactly which products you need to avoid. Coming in at number 6 is the store brand toasting cheese you see at major discount retailers. You know the one I'm talking about. It comes in that bright yellow packaging, always placed right at eye level in the refrigerated section, and it's almost always on sale. The price tag shows about $3 for a standard pack. For a family carefully watching their grocery budget, this looks like a perfectly reasonable deal. Cheese prices have skyrocketed in recent years, so this seems affordable. It feels like you're making a smart purchase. But what are you actually buying for that low price? This product contains only 38% real cheese. According to an analysis by independent dietitians, just 38%. Let that number sink in for a moment. When you eat 100 grams of this product, only 38 grams of it is actual cheese. The vast majority of what's going into your body is something else entirely. You are paying for cheese, but what you're mostly getting is filler. The other 62% is composed of water, butter, powdered milk, and a cocktail of emulsifying salts. The technical names for these additives include polyphosphates, sodium phosphates, and sodium citrates. On the packaging, you might see them listed as food additives like 450, 452, 331, and 339. These compounds serve purely industrial purposes in food manufacturing. They maintain a smooth texture that allows the product to be sliced by machines, and they prevent it from separating during storage and transport. These chemicals extend the shelf life far beyond its natural limits, making the entire production process cheaper and faster for the company. They have absolutely nothing to do with nutritional value or flavor quality. They exist because they benefit the manufacturer, not you, the consumer. A look at the nutritional profile reveals what this product is actually giving your body. The salt content is a staggering 3.5 grams per 100 grams of product. The World Health Organization recommends a maximum of 5 grams of sodium per day for an adult. A single 100-gram portion of this cheese product delivers 70% of your entire daily sodium limit in one go. That leaves you with very little room for salt in any of your other meals for the rest of the day. Your breakfast alone has nearly maxed out your sodium budget. The sugar content is 6 grams per 100 grams. Real aged cheese contains almost no sugar because the fermentation process consumes the lactose over time. The presence of a significant amount of sugar is a dead giveaway that filler ingredients have been added and the processing time has been cut short. The protein content is only 14 grams per 100 grams. In contrast, real Gouda or Edam provides between 20 and 25 grams of protein. For the same weight, you're getting roughly half the protein for a similar price. The math simply doesn't work in your favor. The phosphate compounds deserve special attention because their effects can accumulate in your body over time. Medical studies have linked excessive phosphate consumption with disruptions in the body's calcium metabolism. Your bones need calcium to maintain their density and strength throughout your life, but phosphates can interfere with this vital absorption process at a cellular level. Children who are building bone mass and older adults who are at risk of losing bone density are particularly vulnerable to these effects. Nutritionists have specifically flagged this product because its phosphate load is significant for a food item marketed so heavily to families. From a legal standpoint, this product often cannot even be labeled as cheese, according to FDA regulations. Its official classification is a pasteurized processed cheese food or a cheese preparation. The packaging uses carefully selected language to stay within legal boundaries while still creating the association of real cheese in your mind. Check the fine print next time you're at the store. This distinction matters because you are paying cheese prices for something that is mostly an industrial filler. But hey, it melts nicely on a grilled cheese sandwich. That has to count for something, right? Now for number 5, Kraft's Pimento Cream Cheese Spread. This creamy pepper-flavored cheese spread comes in that familiar round tub you see in refrigerators all across America. Kraft is one of the largest dairy corporations in the country. Their products fill the shelves in every major supermarket chain, from Kroger to Safeway, and their brand recognition is incredibly high. Consumer trust is a natural result of this constant visibility and advertising blitz. Nutritionist Dr. Emily Carter conducted an independent analysis of this exact product and published her findings in the US media. The actual bell pepper content, it clocked in at 0.4%. That's right. Less than half of 1% of the product is actual pepper. This microscopic fraction exists for one reason and one reason only: to justify printing the flavor on the label and mentioning pepper in the ingredients list. The rich, reddish-orange color that makes the spread look so appetizing and full of vegetables comes from artificial dye, according to her detailed assessment. You think you're buying creamy cheese with real bell pepper. What you're actually getting is an artificially colored processed cheese product with a trace amount of vegetable powder. The calorie density alone makes this product a serious concern for anyone watching their weight or managing metabolic conditions. A 100-gram serving packs 272 calories with 24 grams of total fat. The saturated fat content reaches a staggering 15.6 grams, a significant amount for any single food item. Over time, excessive saturated fat intake contributes to higher cholesterol levels and puts a major strain on the cardiovascular system. Nutrition experts describe this product as a calorie bomb, cleverly disguised in the language of health and wellness marketing. The recipe also utilizes an interesting production technique that's worth understanding. The ingredients list shows both cheese curd and whey. The manufacturer adds protein in various processed forms to bulk up the volume and weight of the final product, all while keeping production costs down. This approach slashes expenses while maintaining a texture that consumers find acceptable. Essentially, you're getting processed dairy byproducts instead of real, aged cheese made through traditional methods. Emulsifying salts also make an appearance here. The codes E450 and E451 refer to phosphate compounds which dietitians consistently warn against due to their potential long-term health effects. The product's signature smoothness and spreadability are entirely dependent on these industrial additives. They artificially replicate the natural binding properties that develop in traditional cheese during a slow aging process. In this world, industrial chemistry replaces time. Kraft's advertisements paint a picture of idyllic green pastures and happy dairy cows grazing peacefully. Their marketing language leans heavily on tradition and natural production methods supposedly passed down through generations. The reality, of course, is that production takes place in massive industrial plants, using automated systems and strict output quotas. The gap between the consumer's perception and the manufacturing reality is vast, and it is entirely intentional. A 5-ounce tub of this spread costs around $3 to $4. Shoppers who choose the bell pepper version often do so, believing they're adding a serving of vegetables and nutritional variety to their morning bagel. Instead, they're getting 0.4% dried pepper powder mixed with an artificial colorant. The math simply doesn't support the healthy image. And coming in at number 4 is the item I hinted at in the beginning. This is the product that will change the way you think about budget cheese shopping in America. It's the store brand processed cheese spread with ham, available at major retailers like Walmart all across the country. This ham-flavored cheese spread consistently ranks among the most purchased cheese products in the United States. Its price stays under $2 for a 3.5-ounce container. This incredible affordability drives mass sales, as budget-conscious families automatically reach for this product without even checking the alternatives. Registered dietitian Dr. Jessica Hartley runs the popular blog The Real Food Analyst, where she breaks down supermarket products for their nutritional quality. In January of 2025, she conducted a comprehensive review of the cheese options available at big box stores. Her conclusion was featured in multiple American media outlets, including a segment on Good Morning America and a feature on Healthline. Her verdict was completely unambiguous. This product has the absolute worst ingredient list of anything she tested in the entire cheese category. The actual cheese content hovers around a mere 50%, according to her analysis. Half of what you're buying is real cheese. The other half is a mix of water, processed fats, emulsifying salts, and other industrial additives. When you spread this on a piece of toast for your kid's breakfast, half of that serving is delivering industrial compounds instead of wholesome dairy nutrition. A single 3.5-ounce package contains almost half a teaspoon of salt, all concentrated in a tiny amount of food. The saturated fat content ranges between 15 and 18 grams per 100 grams, depending on the specific production batch. Saturated fat intake is directly correlated with blood cholesterol levels, and overconsumption contributes to cardiovascular problems over the course of many years. Phosphate emulsifiers like E450 and E451 feature prominently on the ingredients list. We've actually discussed these compounds before in other products. Dr. Michael Vance from the Nutrition Insight Center analyzed this product independently of Dr. Hartley's review and came to strikingly similar conclusions. His assessment used the word disaster to describe the nutritional profile. This medical nutrition professional scientifically examined the ingredient breakdown and stated that it represents a tragic failure of our food quality standards. The problem with the composition goes beyond the immediate ingredients to what this product replaces in the daily diet. Consider the substitution effect. American families serve this spread regularly for breakfast, sometimes even daily. Parents believe they are providing essential protein and calcium for their growing children. The reality is that this product delivers processed fats, excess sodium, and phosphate compounds that can actually interfere with the body's calcium absorption. The intended benefit vanishes, and entirely different results take its place. The psychology of budget shopping creates a trap that operates just below conscious thought. With a price tag under $2 per package, this product seems like a responsible purchase. Families managing tight budgets feel good about finding affordable options, never suspecting the hidden cost to their health. Saving money brings a sense of accomplishment, but those low prices directly reflect low production costs. The savings are achieved by replacing expensive, real cheese ingredients with cheap water and a slurry of industrial additives. You might save a few pennies at the checkout line, but your body's nutritional account is the one that shows a major withdrawal. A major consumer watchdog report stated bluntly that American consumers are buying this product in massive quantities, even as nutritionists sound the alarm about its composition. The mainstream media laid out the damning findings for everyone to see. Yet consumer behavior patterns remained largely unchanged. The product stayed right there on the shelves, often in prime, eye-level positions, and its sales volume held steady. Clearly, information alone isn't enough to change our habits. Now for number 3, here the conversation shifts away from nutritional quality and moves directly to immediate physical safety. The product is the Golden Deli Sliced Cheese in a 5.3-ounce package from the Heartland Dairy Cooperative. This co-op is one of the largest dairy producers in the United States, and their products are a staple in supermarkets all across the country. The brand carries a powerful name recognition built through years of advertising investment. But in September of 2024, laboratory tests uncovered something that brand recognition simply can't fix. The Food and Drug Administration issued an official public health warning on September 24, 2024. The FDA is the federal agency responsible for enforcing food safety nationwide, and their lab analysis had detected Salmonella Newport bacteria in samples of this specific cheese. 1 out of every 5 samples tested came back positive for contamination. That means 20% of the products they tested contained a dangerous pathogen capable of causing severe illness. The specific batch details were released so consumers could check their own refrigerators. The lot number was August 30th, P61659, with a use-by date of November 28, 2024. The barcode was 590082008406. Anyone who had this product at home was given clear instructions from the health authorities. Do not eat it under any circumstances. Return it to the store for a full refund. This contamination posed a genuine, serious threat to anyone who consumed it. Salmonella infection causes acute food poisoning with unmistakable and severe symptoms. Crippling diarrhea that can lead to dangerous dehydration, vomiting that makes it impossible to keep down food or absorb medication, a high fever indicating a system-wide immune response, and intense abdominal cramps that can be debilitating even for healthy adults. For most, this means several days of extreme discomfort and missed time from work. But for pregnant women, the consequences can extend to potential complications affecting both mother and baby. For small children, the risk of life-threatening dehydration is significantly higher due to their smaller body size. And for the elderly or anyone with a compromised immune system, a salmonella infection can quickly become a medical emergency requiring hospitalization. National news outlets covered the contamination story extensively. National Public Radio broadcast warnings to its massive audience. Local news affiliates and regional media outlets spread the word throughout the affected areas. The recall mechanism worked exactly as it was designed to. But the troubling part is what this incident revealed about the vulnerabilities of industrial cheese processing as a whole. Sliced cheese products face a much higher risk of contamination compared to solid blocks of cheese. The slicing process itself exposes the maximum amount of surface area to potential contaminants. Packaging equipment then handles thousands of individual units per day at incredibly high speeds. A contamination event at any single point in this production chain can spread like wildfire through massive volumes of product. The Golden Valley case wasn't just some isolated instance of bad luck or unusual circumstances. It represented a systemic weakness in our industrial food production. The manufacturing methods that created the risk remained fundamentally in place long after the recall was over. Great Lakes Dairy issued official statements about their enhanced quality control procedures following the incident. Their corporate communications followed the standard crisis response playbook used across the food industry. The contaminated batch was pulled from store shelves, but the fundamental tension between the demands of industrial-scale production and effective contamination prevention was left completely unresolved. Speed and volume remain the top priorities in industrial food manufacturing because they are what ultimately determine profitability. Coming in at number 2, the health concerns continue, but through a different mechanism, the Happy Cow Creamery Spreadable Cream Cheese, block with ham. Happy Cow Creamery maintains powerful brand recognition across the USA as a producer of quality processed cheeses. Their products are a regular feature in television commercials, often airing during primetime family viewing hours. Their packaging occupies prime real estate on the shelves of refrigerated dairy aisles everywhere. Consumer trust comes almost automatically with that level of market presence and advertising investment. This creamy cheese block with ham is a breakfast table staple in countless American households. The combination of cheese and meat flavors in an easy-to-spread format offers a huge amount of morning convenience. That brand recognition creates an assumption of quality, but the actual ingredient list raises questions that the positive brand image conveniently ignores. This product contains diphosphates, often labeled as E450. Phosphate emulsifiers are found throughout the processed cheese industry. They are essential for maintaining texture and preventing the product from separating during storage. We've already touched on their metabolic effects with earlier products on this list, but Happy Cow Creamery adds another ingredient that deserves intense scrutiny for its documented health implications. Sodium nitrite appears on the ingredient list, sometimes under the code E250. Nitrites serve as preservatives and color fixatives in cured meat products across the entire food industry. The ham component of this cheese spread requires preservatives to maintain its shelf stability. Health authorities have identified nitrites as substances of oncological concern based on extensive scientific reviews. When nitrites interact with the amino acids naturally present in meat during digestion, chemical reactions can produce nitrosamines as byproducts. Studies have firmly established that nitrosamines are carcinogenic compounds with a measurable cancer risk. This risk is dose-dependent, which means that small, infrequent exposures carry a low individual risk. However, regular consumption accumulates that exposure over months and years of eating, building up a significant health burden over time. The salt content is staggering, reaching up to 2.2 grams per 100 grams of the product. This single value represents 44% of the maximum daily sodium intake recommended by health authorities for an adult. A moderate breakfast portion of this spread delivers nearly half the sodium you should consume throughout an entire day from all food sources combined. Your cardiovascular health depends, in part, on managing sodium intake consistently over your lifetime. The ham marketing deserves serious scrutiny because consumer expectations are completely disconnected from reality. Despite positioning that emphasizes the meat ingredient, the actual ham content is only 5% of the product. A 100-gram block contains a mere 5 grams of real ham. The taste and appearance of ham come primarily from smoke-flavoring compounds and sodium, not from any substantial meat content. Consumers expect cheese with ham, but what they get is cheese with ham flavoring. Cow Creamery's marketing goes to great lengths to highlight natural and traditional production methods. The packaging design reinforces these associations through visual elements that suggest artisanal craftsmanship. The actual recipe, however, contains sodium ascorbate, listed as E301, alongside the nitrites and phosphates. This combination represents standard industrial food processing chemistry. It does not represent what consumers imagine when they think of traditional dairy products. Its availability is effectively universal in American retail. Walmart, Kroger, Safeway, Albertsons, and basically every major American grocery chain stocks this product in a prominent location. Trust in the brand name often leads consumers to completely skip any analysis of the ingredients. The assumption is that Cow Creamery's quality guarantees a wholesome product. The reality involves complex industrial chemistry. And now for the #1 spot, the final entry on this countdown. This case defines one of the worst failures of the American cheese industry in documented history. The cheese products from Heartland Dairy, based out of the Midwest. The company produced and distributed products labeled as Gouda and Edam cheese for years. These products appeared on shelves in major grocery chains all across the United States. For years, consumers bought them, believing they were purchasing real, authentic cheese time and time again. The prices seemed competitive, and the packaging looked completely credible. But what prosecutors uncovered during their investigation would completely change the public's understanding of food fraud in America. The cheeses from Prairie Gold Creamery were found to contain between 90 and 91% vegetable fat instead of milk fat. Let that sink in. 90 to 91%. Products marketed as a sea salt style cheese, a Gouda type, and an Edam-style cheese consisted almost entirely of palm oil instead of any dairy ingredients. These products were, for all intents and purposes, just blocks of vegetable shortening sold with a cheese label. The label said cheese, plain and simple. The legal definition of cheese in the United States requires milk-based fat to be the primary fat component. These products were blatant vegetable oil imitations, sold at the price of real cheese, under the guise of real cheese, to completely unsuspecting shoppers. Consumers believed they were buying wholesome dairy products for their families. Instead, they were getting industrial formulas of hydrogenated vegetable fats. The deception didn't stop with cheese. It extended right into their butter products as well. Their Homestead Farms premium butter, sold in 8-ounce packages, was found to contain 61.8% vegetable fat. Butter, by federal law, must contain milk fat as its main ingredient. This product was far more margarine than butter, yet it carried the butter label and, more importantly, the butter price tag. Their Country Meadow brand of butter showed an 11.73% adulteration with vegetable fat. Another premium butter from their Springfield plant was also found to have significant contamination with non-dairy fats. It became clear that multiple product lines were part of a systematic operation to replace expensive milk fats with cheap vegetable fats across the board. The Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, imposed a fine of nearly $500,000 following its investigation. The company's CEO, Simon R., faced criminal prosecution under the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act. The charges detailed the manufacturing and distribution of adulterated food products over an extended period. The legal proceedings confirmed that the fraud was systematic, long-term, and entirely intentional. The scale of the impact on consumers was enormous and deeply unsettling. Products from Prairie Gold Creamery circulated through major grocery chains for years before the scheme was finally uncovered. Thousands of American families were buying this fake cheese, believing they were purchasing the real thing month after month. People who were carefully managing their cholesterol levels or following strict dietary requirements for health reasons were consuming the absolute worst kind of fat without their knowledge. Palm oil and milk fat affect the human body and metabolism in vastly different ways. This substitution had real health consequences for consumers that went far beyond the financial ripoff. The Prairie Gold Creamery case exposed structural weaknesses in America's own food safety enforcement systems. Inspections are often infrequent when compared to the sheer volume of production. The financial penalties remain relatively low compared to the massive profits that can be made through such fraud. Detection often relies partly on chance or on brave whistleblowers, not on methodical, systematic oversight. The conditions that allowed Prairie Gold Creamery to operate its scam for years still exist in the wider market. This is the reality of where the American cheese industry often stands today. Industrial production has largely replaced traditional methods. Slick marketing has overtaken genuine quality as the primary competitive driver. Consumers have become targets for profit extraction rather than valued customers receiving authentic products made with care. Thankfully, the USA still has excellent small-scale cheese producers operating all across the country. Family-run operations are thriving in rural areas and small towns, where traditional methods have survived in regional dairies that resist industrial consolidation. These artisanal cheeses might cost about 20 to 30% more than the mass-produced super